toward the center and starting to get this to adhere a little bit closer to the nose's shape. Okay, making that round off a little bit more. And there we go. But most importantly, I'm just wanting this strip of polygons right in here. Now let's do the same thing right across the top of the head. We're just going to drag that up. And trying to keep these as close to the same size as possible, just starting out. And I'm going to go right over the top of the head, trying to make sure that it stays centered. So the blue line is going right over the middle line there. Okay. So something kind of like that. And if you get off a little bit, it's not a big deal. We'll be straightening it up shortly. So trying to make these polygons a little bit bigger as we go across the back. Okay. And we'll just continue to pull these back. Perfect. And then we're going to go just to the back of the neck here. If it helps, you can go ahead and start moving some of these vertices around on the outside. Don't worry about the center just for right now. You can just kind of move that about a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to continue pulling that around. And I'm going to go all the way down to where we end. Okay, so something kind of like that. Kind of flare these out a little bit. Just kind of give them a little bit more thickness as we come down the neck. All right, so once we have that, let's go down the front as well. So I'm going to pull that down. Go underneath the chin. And then down the front of the neck. And this is all part of the process of just kind of splitting up the workload here. So by creating these segments, what you're essentially doing is kind of quartering up the work in the face. And so I can start to see the polygons that are around the neck, where they need to connect into the face, and things like that. So I'm also going to take this edge, hold down Shift, and I'm going to drag this out to the edge of the ear, and it's actually going to come up over the ear, kind of like this. Very roughly, it doesn't have to be smooth. Okay. And we'll come across that. And then I want this to connect somewhere here on the back of the head. So right about here looks pretty good. And then you can just start to kind of straighten up that strip of polygons there, making that a little smoother as it goes around the head. Now we'll be dealing with how to get the ear worked into all of that. That will come, but at this point we're just kind of starting to split all of this apart. So from right here, what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and try to smooth that out a little bit more. I'm going to hold Shift, I'm going to drag this up across the top of the head. You'll see these polygons are starting to get a little bigger. And I'm going to go right into here. So holding down Control Alt and dragging from edge to edge, and that will bridge that. And then Control Shift Alt to move the individual vertices, creating that. So we've got a nice little band of polygons. So now all we have to do is worry about the individual holes. So if I could start building here on the face. In this lesson, we're going to continue working on the face of our character. All right, so we've gone in and we've started blocking in some of the major parts of the cage of the face here. And this just kind of helps us break it down to where we can work on a little bit here or a little bit here and just kind of start filling in these gaps. Now, the most important thing that we need to remember about modeling a character's face is the loops that belong in the face. So we need to pay attention to how the face is going to deform. So we have the loops around the eyes, a loop around the mouth. We need to make sure that we get a loop that comes from the top of the nose that goes around and and to the chin, and so it needs to connect that way. So to do this, let's go ahead and start connecting this little loop here. So I'm going to go to Edit Poly, and again we have Show End Result turned on, so it's showing us the symmetry on that. Let's go to Poly Draw and then Extend, and I'm just going to come in right up here, and I'm going to hold Shift, I'm going to drag this out, and Shift again, and then we're going to go right up to this point right here. And then I'm going to come in, hold down Control, Alt, and Shift, and I'm going to start moving these points around just to even out these polygons. Okay. So just kind of showing how that's going to loop through. Now the loop itself needs to go down. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of start moving some of these